All right, Keenan. So we're talking about your kitchen written assignment. I went ahead and copied and pasted your um, interactive oral reflection
Alright.
onto the top of this, just because the app doesn't really like to go between the two. So anyway, we're going to talk about the reflective statement. Then we'll look at the essay, and then we'll look at the score it would receive if you send it off right now. The primary, what the IB examiners are really looking for in the reflective statement is what you learned in the reflective statement.
Okay.
Okay, they're not really interested in the making explicit connections to kitchen so much as what did you learn,
Okay.
in class. So whatever notes you took, you can go back and we can change that.
Alright.
The way we emphasize it is by basically repeating that prompt, which is in the interactive oral on kitchen, I learned about cultural and contextual elements like the importance of kitchens.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, I don't
right?
think I did that.
Right. So that's going to be maybe paragraph 1.
Okay.
Then the next and you've got some good details about that, and it's pretty much the focus of this reflection. The other is, I think, on death. But yeah, more about death in Japan. Again, tell us specifically what we
Okay,
learned,
yeah.
the funeral rites and how they've shifted and all of that stuff. We don't need the summary and
Okay, yeah.
the connection, okay? But for each new topic that you introduce and talk about, you'll want to start it with, we also discussed. In the interactive oral, we also learned.
Okay.
Just so that you're really emphasizing that. I found that makes them happy. All right, now here's my thing. I think you're really harsh on Mikage. I'm not sure that cowardly is the best way to demonstrate your understanding, because I do
Okay,
think you
yeah.
have a good idea of what is going on in this characterization of Mikage, and the fact that she does kind of show the way, as a savior figure, if you will. But I think you work too hard to make the anti-hero seem like less than human. I think the idea is that typically, in the past anyway, heroes are so huge, they're superheroes, that mere mortals, normal people, couldn't possibly be heroes. And I think in some ways, anti-heroes are basically real people
Yeah.
that are in real situations. It's not that she's put in any... She doesn't have to save people from a burning building. She doesn't have to lift a car off of anybody. It's nothing like that. But through her perseverance and through her, existentialist philosophy, she does, I think, pretty gracefully and pretty successfully handle what could be... a lot of people would not do so well if they lost parents, grandparents, every connection in the world, and you're not even 18. There's plenty of people that wouldn't do that well. Does that make sense?
No, that makes a lot of sense.
So I think,
Like I overplayed the role.
yeah, you really you ground her down. You're like, here she is sobbing and crying, big baby. I was like, oh my God. What did you say? I was like, oh man, you're mean. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. I don't think you need to dwell. I mean, We don't need. All right. So what we don't need is the definition of hero. We don't need
Okay.
the definition of anti-hero. We also really don't need these adjectives that you like to use, like stunning, a stunning example of a protagonist. Yeah, you can just say it. Yoshimoto, author of Kitchen, creates Mikage Setsuki as a, or I can't remember her last name, as a modern anti-hero, something like that. If we were to recast this, then we could say, what are some of the things that make her an anti-hero, or what make her heroic, if you would. I mean, the fact that she's an anti-hero is because she's normal. So, her, like I said, maybe perseverance, her existentialist philosophy. One of the, so the green is cautionary or cut, like beautiful literary devices.
You mean the yellow?
Yeah, sorry. Yellow
Okay,
is...
no, I was just confused.
Yeah,
What is
no,
the green for?
green is good. So... Great quote. And it does really focus on this existentialist philosophy. And part of this might be described as, she calls herself an action philosopher later in the novel.
Yeah, I remember the reader responses.
Yeah. In some ways, that's kind of what makes her cool, and she's not trying to be a philosopher. It's not like she's sitting around the house just like deep thoughts kind of thing. It's like she's pretty involved in life and pretty involved in living, and a lot of what we get is because of that first person narrative. We're given privy to her thoughts. So that's Yoshimoto doing that, of course, on purpose. And what we get are these kinds of reflections on life, right? On how important it is to be alive, even though it beats us up and kicks us. There's still, according to Mikage, that's the key. Here is an example where instead of saying this outlook is obtained when the protagonist becomes disoriented, Yoshimoto demonstrates
Alright,
this.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I definitely need to do more of that author appreciation too.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it's more of the explanation, and the way you do it is
Yeah.
by putting Yoshimoto in the subject role.
Okay.
Okay? You do it here. This is a good one. That's why it's in green. Yoshimoto utilizes death to create a lonely character out of Mikage, allowing her to reflect and come across existentialist observations. That's excellent. That's great. And in some ways, that's almost kind of the center of her anti-hero-ness, right?
Mhm,
Is
yeah.
overcoming that loneliness, or maybe simultaneously recognizing it and still not succumbing to despair. I don't know. Here it is. Instead of taking responsibility and searching for a new home, Mikage instead stomps around the house and lets herself slip into depression. You big baby. I was like, man, Keenan's a jerk. I think this sentence works well. I'm not sure that she's beginning a journey to happiness so much as it's
Acceptance almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this seems really forced because we go from moving in with them to this like last revelation that she has on the beach, like, that night. That's after she's already brought him to Katsudan. I mean, that's almost the very, very end of the novel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can. I mean, there's plenty here to unpack.
I know. I also don't want to like, cause I know I've had like trouble in the past, just like kind of like summarizing the story. So I didn't really want to like do that again.
Right, right. I don't think you need to
More
summarize
of
so much
analysis,
as.
almost.
Yeah, I mean, look at. It's almost like you kind of start over with this paragraph with the focus being on the anti-hero again, with certain traits being overcome, with the existentialist ideas, and that kind of. It seems like in this paragraph you're suggesting that she's not. She's accepting her individuality, right? And that whether or not it's Yuichi, you know, it's, you know, can't believe in gods. It's going to be, you know, even without Yuichi, which is the other quote up here. With or without Yuichi, right?
Yeah. Do you think Yuichi almost like plays? I said the word almost so many times already. Do you think Yuichi plays like a role of a god in a way? To Mikage, not like as a character. Because I know he doesn't have like the traits for it, but like in Mikage's mind, it almost feels like she's using him as a means of escape.
I think initially he certainly is a. He and Eriko both are invaluable to help pull her out of that depression.
Yeah.
I don't think that she was. I think you're harsh. I mean, her level of depression at that point, I don't think is anything untoward. But at least the way it's written, it sounds like if she had stayed, if they hadn't invited her over, it could have gotten worse, you know? I don't think he's a god, though. I don't think she sees him as such, so much as a, says he's a godsend. She says that. That's how she described him. It's like, this is, you know, been sent to help me. I think the big thing is to not focus on, you don't have to really make a case that she's the anti-hero. Let's just start with the assumption, just
That
make
she
that
is,
claim.
yeah.
She's an anti-hero. The person reading it knows what an anti-hero is.
Yeah.
You're going to say she's an anti-hero because, and then give us 2 or 3 reasons why she is. And then the body paragraphs then develop why she's an anti-hero, or why these are the reasons she's an anti-hero. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like her ability to overcome her loneliness, her existentialist philosophy, and maybe her love for life or something. Most of the quotes and a lot of what you have can be, or a good bit of what you have can be used for that. But another half of it could,
Yeah, there's a lot of nonsense.
I wouldn't say it's nonsense. It's just, you know, getting to your ideas, and it takes time. I mean, to write it, you know, it just doesn't come out. A lot of times we don't know it until we get there. All right, cool.
Would you want me to edit it directly on here?
You can,
Okay.
or you can make a copy of it.
All right, and then you don't.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Oh man, no.